Hello, Nicholas G from Cloud Ready Solutions, and I'm here to do a walkthrough of the QSAN XF3126D, more specifically through its operating system XEVO or XEVO. The XF3126D is one of a new generation of storage array featuring NVMe disks. It offers incredible performance for applications such as server virtualization, artificial intelligence, and VDI. The key to the performance boost is the use of NVMe disks, which offer far superior performance than SAS and SATA SSDs. NVMe is the future of storage technology, and if you're in the market and looking for some kind of storage array, then NVMe should be at the top of your spec list. In this demo, you will see how easy it is to configure a storage pool and volumes, to assign them to a server, and even how to protect the data that's on those volumes by configuring snapshots and the replication plan. You'll also see how to monitor the health of the system. So with that, let's crack on with the demo. Okay, let's get started with the QSAN XEVO or XEVO. Log in as the admin account. The default password is 1234. I recommend you change that. To start with, the dashboard doesn't show us a lot of information, but it does show us which slots are occupied, and also we can see the status of the battery backed up module. So let's get started by defining some storage pools and creating some volumes that we can actually use. So using the storage tab, we can see we have no pools currently available. So we click the plus button, and then again we can click the plus button to select some available disks to create a storage pool. For the demo purposes, I'm just going to select 4 disks. The next step in the wizard allows me to choose my RAID level, assign a pool name, choose whether I want thin or thick provisioning, and depending on the number of disks that I've chosen, I'm presented with different options for the RAID level. I'm just going to stick with a RAID 10. I'm going to use thick provisioning, and I'm going to give my pool name just RAID 10 demo, and then click next. The next step is to create a volume, and I have a choice of creating multiple volumes at the same time of a given size. I can choose my block size, and of course I can specify a volume name. I'm just going to create one volume that's 500 gigs for now. The final step in the create pool wizard is to assign a host if we have already defined host groups. We don't have any host groups, so at this stage I'm just going to say forbid all connections and move on. After a few seconds, the storage pool and the volume that we created are available to use. Now that we've got our volume, we need to assign it to a host group in order to make it usable, make it visible. So we go to the create a host group wizard, and we can choose to define iSCSI based hosts by inputting the iSCSI qualified name, or we can use Fibre Channel by entering their worldwide name. You can see here the worldwide names of my Fibre Channel cards have been picked up. So we connected a server to the QSAN using Fibre Channel, and we can see the host, so we can add them immediately to the host group. I can give my group a name, and then we can see the ports that are connected. I've got 2 16 gig Fibre Channel ports connected, one for each controller in the QSAN, because remember this is a highly available system. And then of course I can choose which volume I want to assign to the host group. I've only got one volume at the moment, so I'm just going to assign volume 1 and click done. I'm actually running the web browser on the server that I've connected with the Fibre Channel cards, so I can launch my disk management tool and quickly rescan for new disks, and there's my 500 gig volume. So I can quickly initialize that disk and format it and create a new volume, and it's now available to use within Windows. Now that my volume is available to use, I'm going to add some protection So I'm going to start by creating a protection group, a brand new protection group. I can obviously give the protection group a name. I choose my volume that I'm going to include in this particular protection group. And then I can choose what I want to enable. So I'm going to enable snapshotting. I can configure a one-time snapshot, or more usefully would be a repeating snapshot. And I can choose when to repeat, what particular days of the week, and the frequency that I want the snapshots to occur. The next protection feature to look at is the replication plan. And we can configure replication to a remote QSAN All Flash system. And we can, again, as before with the snapshotting, we can choose a schedule. We can also configure traffic shaping based on the schedule, time of day, etc. Unfortunately, I don't have access to a second QSAN All Flash system, so I'm just going to back out of the remote replication. I can, however, configure local replication. Remember, I only used 4 disks of my available 16 NVMe disks, so I can configure local replication by creating a new pool. And this time I don't need to use RAID 10, I can use a different type of RAID level. So if I just select 3 disks, and I'm going to create a RAID 5 in this case. Notice my choices of RAID levels is different because I've only got 3 disks available. I give my pool name just the name of replica pool, and then click apply. The new target pool is created very quickly, and once selected, I could choose my schedule again, going for every day or certain days, and a replication interval of up to every 15 minutes. So I've configured my snapshot plan and my replication plan, and once I click finish, I have created my protection group, and my volume is now bulletproof. The next screen to look at is the analysis that's going to show us all kinds of statistics, except we haven't done anything yet with our storage, so we have no statistics, so we'll come back to that later. And instead we'll look at the system tab. Again, this is going to show us the status of the All Flash array. We can hover the mouse over any item. Obviously the green ones are populated. We can see the status, the health, and obviously on this particular unit everything is healthy as expected. Looking at the settings, you can see a whole bunch of configuration items here, including accounts. I mentioned earlier that the default password is 1234, so you do want to change that. But also you can add additional accounts and give very granular control to those accounts. So not everyone needs to log in with the admin account, for example. We can see here we've got the option to back up the configuration. We can export the system configuration and also the RAID configuration. And we can see the management ports and the QoS settings, so we can choose to prioritize response time or prioritize IOPS and throughput. I can view the data ports, so you can see the 10 gig iSCSI ports that we have on the All Flash unit, and we can see our iSCSI settings if we want to connect via iSCSI, but also we have the optional 16 gig Fibre Channel card, and we can see all of the information about that as well. Finally, we have the maintenance tab, and this is where you'd go if you wanted to update the firmware. You can even update the firmware of individual disks, and you can now set the power settings as well, enabling things like auto shutdown and UPS support, etc. And there's also an ability to rescue or really do a factory reset of the unit. And the final thing I promise is to look at the log. You can see every activity is logged, so it's very useful if you do have multiple users, multiple accounts connecting. Now that we configured, I thought it would be a good idea to look at some of the analysis and the stats. So first of all, we need to select the volume so we can actually see what's been happening with the history, and I have a simple benchmark tool to run a write test and then a read test, and you can see the speed of this test. We're seeing very high performance. This is in megabytes per second, so obviously multiply it by 8 to get your megabits per second speed. The other thing to look at while we're here is to look at the protection and see what's been happening over the last few hours. I can see that I have a snapshot and a replication plan. If I go to Snapshot Manager, I can view all of the snapshots and the replication points that are available. If I want to present one of these to a system, I can just click the expose slider, and that will be available to be presented to a Windows server or any other type of server. I hope you enjoyed that demonstration of the QSAN 3126D All Flash Storage Array. If you have any questions, any queries about the QSAN range in general, please feel free to drop us a line at sales@cloudreadysolutions.com.au, and we'll get back to you straight away. If you did enjoy the video, please hit the like and subscribe for future videos that I'll be recording. Thank you.